What's up, everybody? Pouncer and Jeff here. P, what's up? Sorry we're late, but well, we had no choice. We're just crazy busy. We don't mean to be, but we are. Pouncer sitting on his dad's lap like a good boy. This is his first time seeing snow, and he is fascinated. It's made him a little nuts, though. He's had I don't know, he's like what's in your head? He's just dying to get out there and play, but I don't want you to get a cold. I don't want you to be sick, and all that. We just went out for barbecue. I still have some left. Yeah, you ain't eating that. You ain't eating mine, bro. Mm-mm-mm. He knows it. When it comes to food, he's very good that way, actually. So, Pounce has been sort of a crazy lunatic today. He's been, we're driving, pushing on the gas. He's been turning the keys, putting on the windshield wiper. You've been a little crazy, you have to admit. I love you. You're a good boy. But you've been a little crazy. Yeah, he had a crazy day. But that's okay. He played a lot. We slept a little bit because we both played so much. We recovered. We went out. We did things, but it was snowing. So, most of the things Pouncer likes to do, they're outside. But we couldn't do the things that we normally do. We had to play inside. The poor guy had to make do with that. But you all know he's a good boy, right? You know how Pouncer is. Yeah, he plays with his leash. He loves his leash. I like the way he looks at the world, you know. He's been studying a lot. He's been learning new things. We've been talking a lot about like academic things since he was born, really. But now he's starting to really understand. Sometimes he has like a little bit of a learning deficit. Like he doesn't want to sit still and listen. But he's getting better. He's a good student. He is. You'd be surprised how much he's learned. You're a good boy. You go. You give kisses, and you give kisses. Pouncer's the best baby. He just wants to drive. I know you want to drive. Ow, bro. Well, that hurt a little bit. That hurt a little bit. Be kind. Be kind. So we have a slow connection. It's taken us forever for the live to go through, probably because of the weather. And we're in South Carolina. And, there's probably a lag on it for which we are sorry, but there's not much we can do. Doesn't Pouncer look handsome? Doesn't Pouncer look handsome today? He's got all of his spots on. He's wearing all of his stripes, and he's very happy to see everybody. And we'll give it a minute and see what is up with you guys. We'll see who's around. But I'm still starving. I'm still starving. Are you hungry, buddy? You're not eating my barbecue, though. The front is okay. The back a little bit hurts. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Do you love me or do you want the barbecue? He's the best. He really wants to drive. He hits the car key. He likes to accelerate. Watch. He likes to just be down there. I have fur babies around. Lulu and Marshall, how are you tonight? What do you got? You got cats, doggies, what? What do you got? And this is Pouncer. He's a cat. He likes to drive. He loves to be where he knows, like all cats, they know where you're focusing. So if you're reading the newspaper, if you have the newspaper open, they're gonna. Your kitties, I love cats, man. They'll sit like right in the middle of the article you're reading. And if you're driving, they know where you're focused. So he's gonna want to hold the wheel. He's gonna want to play with the keys. But above all, he wants to accelerate and brake. He wants to drive, And but you haven't even had driver's ed yet. You're not ready. You're too young. You're too young. When you get older, we'll work something out. We'll work something out. I'll invent something for you to participate in driving. But I'm coming to realize, having driven in the snow today with Pouncer, he identifies as one. He identifies as a cheetah. But today I've been realizing as we've been driving in the snow, it's his first time seeing snow. Don't eat my foot. That I really need to hook him up with one of those dog things that attach to the chair here and then connect to him, connect to his harness. It'd be a good idea because, when they're driving in the snow, And there's a serval cat on your neck giving you kisses in the ear. What it's hard to hear. I mean, as nice as it feels and as much as I appreciate the gesture, it just makes it hard to drive. What are you doing? Why are you on the gas? I'm telling you, he knows where I'm focused. But yeah, he's got a lot of spots, right? He looks like a cheetah. But he's Pouncer. He's a serval cat. A little different. Much different than cheetahs, actually. Different family. He's in like the leopard family. Not that he's a leopard. He wishes. Yeah, this is really delicious. I need to eat. So, usually, mm, oh God, I'm so hungry. Usually we have a whole little international community that comes here from everywhere. They're all in different time zones, so hopefully this time will work. We'll see what happens. Wild Star, we had a wonderful day. How was your day today? Wild Star is a regular. Pouncer loves Wild Star. We went out for barbecue. It was so good, but I didn't really eat, so I'm having it now. I mean, I had some, but Pouncer is really, when it comes to food, man, Pouncer, like, he's not even remotely food aggressive. He doesn't try to take your food. Where are you going? You want to live under the chair? I understand. I understand. It was good. You didn't have to. Oh, thank God. So, Martin Luther King Day, huh? You've been watching all the political stuff on TV? We don't really get into that, but it's been hard to avoid, to be honest. You know, it's like, it's hard to avoid it when it's on like every channel in the world. You know, YouTube, whatever. But Pounce and me, we feel like people shouldn't worry about stuff like that. It's too divides them up too much. We feel like people should bear in mind that the extent to which politics affects your life compared to that with your family. I see you, baby, and cats affect your life is infinitesimally small. It's tiny. That's where we stand. We say everybody should train in jiu-jitsu and have a cat. Then you'll be fine. Wolfman, Smith. What's up, brother? How are you? Pouncer says hi. He's been a bad boy today. He's also been really chasing his tail. And I got to tell you guys, hold on a second. Yeah. Announcement. Pouncer's in love. Pouncer's in love with a redheaded cat named Goldie. And, you know, his approach is all wrong because it's the first time he's ever had an approach. He's still 13 weeks old. But he's in love. And you should see the video. He's getting better. But he thinks that, you know, the best way to hit on a girl is to like jump on her tail and to jump on her and to chase her. You know, his approach needs to be modified. It's just all today, not for the holiday. Everyone's some political stuff just to see what's going on. Yeah, us too. We also listen to audio stories on YouTube, mostly sci-fi stuff. Do you watch Star Trek? I think Star Trek is the best series ever. Not that it's just one series, you know, the whole franchise. I think it's wonderful. Star Trek, at its best, is a social commentary. It's about morality. As nice as Star Wars is, it's not. Star Wars is entertainment. It's nice. I never really gotten into it, but if it wasn't for Star Wars, Star Trek would never have come back from the 60s because Star Trek came out. Oh, you did? God bless you, man. That means you're a smart person. You know, Star Trek from the 60s, the originals, with William Shatner, Captain Kirk, it never did very well. But then, when Star Wars came out, what up, B? How you doing today? There's the big boys drawing. Your mom watched it. Yeah, it's for smart people. Really, it is. You'll see. Everyone that watches it is smart. But anyway, when Star Wars came out, Paramount said, wait, you know, this thing's been massively successful. Don't we have something like that? Don't we have like something about outer space? So that's when they made the Star Trek movie, the first one. And that's really how Star Trek had this massive comeback. Star Trek really has a debt of gratitude to Star Wars, or should. What's your expectations of his size? He'll be up to my thigh. I mean, when he stands up, he'll be able to almost give me a kiss. He'll be like 32, 34 pounds, something like that. And they have long legs, so that's why he reaches up to my thigh. But he'll be a big boy. His dad is Swaggers is a big serval. Swaggers is big for a serval cat. That's why he jumps on the refrigerator so easily. Yeah, well, he's on his way, B. He's certainly on his way. For 13 weeks, I don't know. At nine, for some reason, at 9 weeks and 11 weeks, they have these growth spurts. And boy, did he not miss out on that. Look at him. Exactly. So the movies come out, then comes the next generation, and then their movies came out, and Star Trek has the even jinx, meaning the movies that are odd, like, hey, Dima, how are you? Thanks for popping in. The movies that are like the first, third, fifth, and so on, those are the good ones. If it's an even number, if it's the second or the fourth, it always stinks. You know, I mean, I like any Star Trek, but that's just pretty much a fact. I mean, I don't know many people that would disagree with that. But, if you love Star Trek, then you look for like meaning in it. It's not just about special effects and all that. I mean, all of them, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, there's always something more. Star Trek at its best anyway. It's about ethics, and they make it so interesting. So what's up with you, Dima? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Do you have any animals? Wow, I'm just eating a little sandwich. We are wonderful today, but Pouncer never saw snow before, and for some reason it made him nuts. It made him misbehave. So exactly, well, exactly. So I don't know, man. He saw snow, and then he like got all nuts, and I told him, it looks fluffy, but it's mushy, and it looks fun, but it's cold. And he didn't believe me. And then he started to get cold, but I didn't want him to learn the hard way. Not this time. It was too cold out, and my heart breaks for the cats that are living outdoors, the ones we feed. And I wish to God I could bring them inside. I might just do that, but it's very hard to keep them separate from swaggers, from Pouncer. Swaggers would kill them, um, but it's hard to keep them separate, and there's all sorts of issues with that. But right now, my feeling is, look, it's freezing outside. Just bring him in. We'll figure it out. You played with the hyenas in the snow. You're so lucky. Zoomies go knocking you down. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard, man. That's so cool. You get to work with hyenas. I thought about getting one, believe it or not, but excuse me, um, just didn't happen. I'm a cat person. I don't know. Part of me says, get get 100 servals. Just have a place called Serval Land and let people come. I don't know. I believe that people should follow what they love, follow that thing that you love. And the thing is, I have too many things that I love. They weigh 150 pounds, Jesus Christ. And three of them are a small football team. So you've had them since they were babies. They're nice to you. They don't try to rip you up. Like, they didn't get a good rip from the Lion King. They were funny, though. I thought the hyenas were really funny. But, I watched a YouTube video about a guy who had a hyena and he kept it in his apartment. And boy, did that end badly. He didn't give it enough space. So, yeah, that had a really bad end. The guy, he came to a bad end. But what do you expect, man? If you keep a wild animal inside, you don't know what you're doing, what do you expect to happen? They're rescued from the black market. They're ranged and declawed 4 weeks. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Or defend. There's a lot of that. There's a cat, a serval cat, that's a very famous one, and everyone thinks that it's a rescue. But if you look carefully, if you like take screenshots and enlarge them, you'll see that He was declawed, and he wasn't rescued. What's up, SL? How you been? Um, you can tell he was not a rescue, because when you rescue a serval, especially at the age that they're claiming, the serval wouldn't get along very well with the person. They wouldn't let the guy just scratch his tummy like it does, and it's not like that. And I don't believe it for a second. I know that that cat is declawed by them. I mean, I do know. I know people that look. I know them, so it's just I hate the whole idea of declawing an animal. It's cruel, and they can't ever walk right again. They can't defend themselves, and they do escape. What happened to escape? What are they supposed to do? Radio Free ACAB. Are you a fellow van life cat person? I don't know what van life is, but I'm a cat person. You just got one walking your big chunk in the park. I mean, I like that. Thanks for coming, man. We need cat people. Briley, how are you? Pouncer says hi. He's just pretending to sleep. Really, what he's doing is he's waving his paw at you, saying hi, what's up. He got some nails trimmed last night. Boy, did he not like that. And he makes sounds, like new sounds, when he trims his nails. That's the thing he hates most in life. Having his nails trimmed. I think there are worse things, but he doesn't know what they are yet. Although Snow has him very confused. I'm ready. Oh my god. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. When people do what they think is right for them, for the people, and not for the animal, you're talking with a dirtbag, I mean, it's just so unethical. If you're going to put yourself first and you're going to have animals, then, well, it's really just a bad idea. And you can't really ban people individually from having animals. It's either going to be a statewide ban or it's not. So when people say this guy shouldn't have animals, it's a fine statement. It's just not realistic. And you can never ban an individual. So then, if you do have increased regulation, restrictions, then you're banning everybody. So the people that are doing nothing wrong get punished for the jerks. Yeah, I never got swaggers fixed or declawed. I would never do that. Um, I didn't do it so he would be a breeder. That just sort of happened 10 years ago, huh? Oh, that means you're doing something right, huh? But yeah, it's heart wrenching. When you see animals that are being taken advantage by. I mean, it's hard enough as it is without people involved. Just the cats that I feed, that are outside freezing right now. I can't even find them all. I mean, it's just terrible. It's just terrible what they go through. They're freezing, and everyone has an excuse. No, they're fine. No, they're fine. No, they're not fine. It's easy to say they're fine, but we have. I think, speaking for myself, I feel like I have responsibility for their well-being. So they're not inside yet, but I'm going to be getting them inside, and they'll stay inside tonight. It's going to be interesting because Pouncer's there, and he's a good boy with them, except if they run. So if they run, he's going to chase them. He doesn't want to hurt them. He just wants to play. That's his instinct, like the hunt. When they play, they're practicing hunting. But there's not that much room to run, so I think that we'll be okay. Briley, always saying nice things. What about USDA? I've mentioned her before, but I have a friend who hates me, who she has the most beautiful setup of animals, but she doesn't have her USDA license. She's had trouble getting it, and it's a long story. It's a long, sad story. Someone sort of jerked her around, and the person sort of took the license from her. Let's just put it that way, right? But she has such a beautiful facility, but there's a lot of fuckery. There's a lot of fuckery, and people do. I don't know why, but whenever people are around animals, they seem to do unethical things, because people have animals, and then there are some people that say, look, people have animals, let's use them. And then you get into these terrible situations. PETA make me sick. PETA, it's not worth getting into. It's a negative, it's unpleasant to discuss PETA. They're everything they say that they're not. So, whatever. They have very strong opinions, but about treating animals well, but they treat them worse than anyone. Just look up on YouTube something like put in something like the reality of PETA and watch what comes up. You know, it's a shame. I don't know. Animals bring out the best in people, but then there are these other people, and it brings out their worst because they know it brings out other people's best, and so it gets them lots of attention. And maybe they could have like a zoo or something, or a YouTube channel, or whatever it may be, some way of making money, and then the animal pays the price, and that's just so wrong. And the people that are visiting the zoo or patronizing whatever it may be should really think about it. I went to a zoo recently, and I was so saddened by what I saw. Well, maybe because they saw you were ready to fight. Sometimes they're not down for a good, dirty fight. Sometimes they just want to like bully people, and bullies don't like a real fight. I don't know what's wrong with them. That organization, like they're so pretentious, and they portray themselves as these. They come off as so sanctimonious and self-righteous, as if they are treating animals so well, when they're the ones that are treating them the worst. I mean, they're euthanizing so many animals. That's pretty much their policy: take them in and kill them, and then they're out there telling other people what they should and shouldn't do. I mean, I don't know anyone that hasn't had some sort of run-in with them that's been involved with animals that are exotic for, even a brief while. There's so many horror stories. It's crazy. Hang on, I need a little sip of my drink here, Andorian ale. Yeah, my hand's cut up. I know. People have been mentioning it. It doesn't bother me much. But yes, I'm taking measures to make my hand better. It's just my right hand, but he didn't like it too much getting his nails trimmed. I don't really care, but at work they care. It's not great to go around. When you're going desk to desk to help kids out with their Spanish work, and you use your pen on their paper to write a note, and they see there's not much flesh. That's when I say yes. I understand. I'm working on fixing it. Otherwise I'm gonna have to wear gloves in class all the time. It's hard to write with gloves. I mean, I can write with the chalk. I can write with the the magic marker things, and you can always write on the smartboard. But when you're writing on someone's, when you go desk to desk to help them out, it's hard because you need to hold a pen. With gloves, it's just imagine it's hard. An owl. Oh man. Um, I once, when Swaggers escaped, I was sitting there with a bunch of live chicks, and I would never sell them, but they go for like 5K. And um, I had the trap out. It was in the car. I was sitting on the floor. It was like it was an interesting place. It was like in a corner. There were houses on the sides, but at the end of the road, it was like this forest. So there was a chance that Swaggers was there. That's when he was gone for like 3 weeks. So this owl heard the live chicks, and I was sitting down on the floor playing YouTube female serval mating sound to try to attract Swaggers. Not that that would work with him, but I tried. And that owl swooped down on me like I were just owl food. And, I was like, who do you think you are? And he kept doing it, and he came like a millimeter away from me. He just wanted the chicks, but one, I didn't want to hurt the chicks. They were in a compartment inside of the trap, so like the cat would go inside the trap, but he couldn't really hurt the chicks. But this owl would have none of that. This owl was like, "Yo, bro, give me the chicks, or you're gonna pay for it." And I was like, "Who do you think you are?" Susan, how are you? Just got home and decided to see the kitty, and the kitty is happy to see you. He's wearing all of his spots. He has combed in part of his hair, and he says that he loves you. He's pretending to be sleeping tonight. Man, he was so bad last night. He was jumping on my face time after time. There's something about being in bed, trying to fall asleep, and you're starting to go to that point where you're falling asleep, and a cat, just a serval cat, a chubby serval cat, suddenly lands on your face with all four paws. There's something about that that keeps you at attention. It's like it's hard to not become paranoid. And if you try to read a book, once you get into it, well, Pounce is gonna fly over it and land on your face. Oh, well, thank you, Susan. He says you're the cutest. Yeah, hunting owls can be a little scary. Michael Springs, how are you? Yes, sir. Got plenty, plenty. I mean, so many snakes have come in that actually it's bothering me a little bit. There's so many people that for some reason have been giving me their snakes with their enclosures. I don't know why. I can't speak for them. It's nice of them, whatever. But I've also ordered a lot, and the orders came in, and so there's my snakes, the ones that I really wanted, and then there's these hordes that people have given me, and so it's gotten up to a very high number, and I don't want to have any animal that I can't take care of properly. So I have them in three different places with three different people taking care of them, and I have just a couple here that are very secure. Um, the majority are cobras, but I'm starting. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. If you knew how many there were, it's difficult to feed all of these snakes. You can never just have one or 50. No, man, snakes like French fries. You can't have one. It's like going to McDonald's. You go to fries. They put that tray down with your burger and your Coke, and you look at the fries and say, "All right, I'll have one." Well, you're never gonna have one. No one can have one. I just feel bad for the employees. Watching those fries. But yeah, man, snakes are snakes and cats. Like they're totally different creatures, but there are some things that they have in common, and we need all of them. So true. We do. We need them all. But I can't imagine my life without snakes. I can't imagine my life without cats. You know, of course, fundamentally they're so different. But it's funny when I spend time with one, I love that. But it makes me want to spend time with the other one. So there's something about a cat's just everything about them to me is funny. I think cats are hysterical. Just looking at Pouncer's ears crack me up. Snakes, I don't find them funny as much as just stunningly beautiful, and I find that there's something in snakes that eludes most people. There's something about their ability to feel that, it's a lonely thing for me because no one else agrees with it. But I have found that snakes do express affection for you if you're not afraid of them and if you're able to hold them without fear. Well, they lose their fear, and then something very beautiful happens. It's just that other people that don't do that don't react very well to it, and you get so much hate, and it's not really worth it, because it takes time to ban everybody. Just be careful, sir, please. Yeah, absolutely. It's a funny thing, man. It's like I respect every person's way of handling. One hook, two hooks, gloves, whatever you want. Whatever you want. To me, it's none of my business. But there's something about, handling them on a daily basis, getting to know them from when they're babies, and feeling almost like a coalescence of consciousness. Like the two of you, if nothing else, you're at the same spot. You're feeling something along the same lines. You're feeling something and a certain affection, and they're feeling it, but they're doing it their way. They're doing it in their own way. And again, they can't make that journey to us. They can't act like people, but we do have the ability to understand that snake behavior. We can understand. They don't need sudden movements. We can understand what we have to do and make that journey more than they can make it to us. And I like that journey. Ah, do you know, don't get the wrong idea about golden lanterns. People are saying in my chat group they go for over $100,000. That's nonsense. I had one offered to me recently that was more. It was like he wanted like 1,200, and he would have taken less. Um, that's not that bad. The reality is, not many people are willing to spend $100,000 on a snake, and they're not as rare as people think. They're just rare right now. Of course, they're just on that island, but they pop up. Um, I don't want to ask too many questions, but they pop up, and boy, would I love to go there though. But when they pop up, an animal, a thing, any product, a service is worth as much as someone else is willing to pay. It's worth whatever it is that you're looking at buying. Anything in life, I think, is worth the agreement that you have. It's worth what you agree on, and that's it. So I don't see golden lanterns going for $100,000. Those green, blue pythons, yes, they go for over $1 million. But to me, that's just insane. Yeah, carpet pythons are beautiful, demon. They feel funny though, don't they? When you hold a carpet python, their texture feels different than any other animal. Your local weirdo 24, how you doing? Thanks for popping in. I want one so bad. Well, hit me up on Facebook because there's I hear there's more coming in, and they won't be going for that much. When you see one in person, they're very beautiful, but the like you're starstruck at first, right? But over time that wears off, and you say, all right, it's like another beautiful snake. But they're not more beautiful than the ones that we have. I can't make any new snake videos for at least 2 3 weeks. How's your day night going? Well, we had a interesting day, busy day. You see, Pouncer learned what snow was today, and he reacted in a weird way. Like he got all excited and crazy, and he wouldn't let me hold him, which is really weird for him. He wanted to jump into it, but I didn't want him to get a cold, and so I was worried about him. So there was that, and we had a lot of back and forth with that. And then he tried to jump through the car window, which he can't do, but Swaggers could probably pull off. I will be on your Facebook. All right, Jeffrey Leibowitz, Leibowitz. That's me, and the chat group is called Venomous Snakes Classifieds. Send in a request, I'll approve it. But do it kind of soon if you would. It would be easier because there's so many requests now. There's too many people. It's like 51,000 people. When I started that group, it was just to trade pictures with guys, and it wasn't even really about sales. I don't know why I use the word classifieds. I knew that it was possible. I mean that maybe someone would want to buy someone else's or do trades and stuff, but it's mostly just to exchange pictures of our snakes. And then everyone started to want to join, and it was nice when it got to like 1,000, maybe 1,500 people, because everyone knew each other. It was very cool. Everyone got along. It was a safe place where people could say anything they wanted about anything. But when you have this many people and after all the hate from the bite, then it's not as fun as it used to be. It's still fun. It's useful. I just do it as a service primarily for them. I thought about just closing the whole thing down, but there's too many people that depend on it and that have businesses. It wouldn't be the right thing to do. You got a new pet fox? Oh, dope, man! What kind of fox did you get? A red fox? I heard they could be a little stinky, but they're beautiful. I was looking at fennec foxes, but they're legal even in New York. I like their ears. Silver fox, that's awesome, man. So hang on, so let me just go back there. Let me just see what you said before. You got a new fox. Oh yeah. So is the fox new? Like, is it a baby or is it new to you? How old is it? That's so cool, man. Foxes are dope. I love them. They're so cute. They're interesting. Like, that's exactly the kind of animal that I like. The kind that they're wild, but you can win their hearts. And they'll still be wild, but I just like the fact that we have to make that trip to them. Oh, a baby. Oh, and a girl. Oh, that's so cool. I wish I could see a picture. So, do you have a name yet? Are you a guy or a girl? You're a local weirdo. I can't really see the profile pic from here. Have you noticed Have you noticed Pouncer's just Luna? That means moon in Spanish. If you don't know the other guys, um, you're a female. Gotcha. Have you noticed Pouncer's just lying here like a bum the whole time, like a bum, a cute bum, but a bum. I put this harness on him. It feels like yesterday. It was like what 3 weeks ago, and it was big. I said, all right, he'll grow into it. And now it's like time for a new one. I got to figure out what to get, what style to get him. Maybe we'll get him like a hippie one. But I'm thinking maybe better get a camel one. You only have 4 foxes? I think that's a lot. That's so cool. What state are you in? Do you ever think about getting a wolf or a wolf dog? See, I think that's nice, but I've been watching some videos on that, and it seems like wolves need to be together. They have a whole social structure. I'm sure you know it better than me, but even the way they walk, they have like the elderly or the weaker wolves in front, and then the stronger ones, and then the females and the younger ones, and then in the back they have more strong ones, and then the leader is in the very back walking by himself, the alpha, right? I don't know. I'd hate to take that away from them by having just one, but that'd be cool, man. All right, Dima. I'll see you on Facebook next. All right, have a great night. Thanks for coming. Pouncer says goodbye. I say goodbye. We appreciate you. Be well. Stay warm. Easily said, right? I had to buy ingredients for Pouncer's grind, and we're at the supermarket, and this time he stayed in the car. I want him to stay in the car. It's just too snowy out. And it was just messy, snowy, slushy. And so I was just like, bro, stay here. So he's sleeping, but once I got back, man, he tried to just jump in the car, jump out of the car and be a maniac. And I was like, man, is this like the swaggers in you that's starting to emerge or what? And so he wouldn't comment. Oh, you got a raccoon. I love raccoons, man. I hate the way they're treated. I can't get over how terribly they're treated. They're such beautiful, intelligent. They're so cute. I love them. They're called mundis too. They're essentially the same thing, right? They're called mundi is just a raccoon, South America. That's so cool. How old is your raccoon? What's his name? You don't seem like a weirdo to me. You seem like the most normal person in the world. You should change your name. What state are you in? We're in South Carolina. Pouncer's a southern cat with a southern accent. Hiss. Hiss, y'all. But he's such a good boy. He just needs to play a lot. That's all. And if you ever have like a wild animal that's, breaking shit in your house and is indoor and outdoor, Marble's a cute name. I like that. Um, like Swagger sometimes. He'll be up at night just throwing pots on the floor. That's because they're bored. And, that would be my fault. That's the person's fault. Swaggers will play all day and still need to play at night. He sleeps very little. So, they need to be entertained constantly. And if you're not going to entertain them, you're going to find your TV smashed on the ground. And, like if I'm home 10, 15 minutes late from work, Swaggers will always destroy some sort of appliance or some sort of something from like the TV set or a stereo. He'll destroy something and attempt to eat it. Swaggers once ate the modem. Had to bring him to the vet again. And the vet's like, once again, she's like, he's fine. He seems to have no trouble digesting inanimate things. So, Swaggers ate the blind. Watch the videos. Swaggers ate all of the blinds. Nothing happened to him. He ate the modem. Man, that was a pain in the ass. My parrot just knocked my class cup down. No, tell your parrot not to do that. What kind of parrot? You have an African gray, double yellow head, Amazon. What do you got? Do you ever follow Einstein Parrot on Instagram or Cosmos and Friends? That one's really smart. These African gray parrots, though, they seem to pull their feathers out of their chest when they're in captivity. They start out fine, and they seem to, even though they're living well and they seem happy, they still have that habit of pulling their feathers out of their chest, and they wind up looking like the chickens in the supermarket. It looks like a big chicken breast, but they're so smart and they're so cute. It seems like it's hard for the people to get them not to do that. Oh, you got an African gray. Which kind? The Congo kind or the other kind? Must talk really well. How old is it? Pouncer is just a sleepy baby bear. Pouncer, you're a sleepyhead, buddy. You're just a sleepyhead. You're not really a good performer on YouTube. You should be doing things. Grays are smart. All the ones I've met have had a mean streak. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. There's a guy in where is he? In New York, in Rockville Center, named Mark, and he owns a place called Parrots of the World. And he's like a big shot in the parrot world. And you go there and you'll see like so many little babies. He raised them from babyhood, and they seem to do well with him. But there's a lot there. Sometimes like if people aren't buying them, you'll see so many there. It's like Jesus Christ. And you walk around and like they're out. They're out on perches. They're not all in cages. So they'll grab you, and they're like, "I think I'll have this watch." And they'll like rip your watch off, man. Like some of the parrots really like aren't so tame that are out. But the cockatoos are always sweet. I think I have too many snakes. Yeah, me too. What snakes you got? You got venomous? I have almost more snakes than I've ever had in my life, and I've had a lot. But I mean, at one time, putting aside Thailand, in this country, this is almost the most I've ever had, and it's not really a good time. So I'm gonna probably have to sell a few off. And I'll tell you something that might surprise you. I have never sold a snake in my life, not once. I've given snakes to friends when it was the right thing to do. You got some venomous. What venomous you got? But I never sold a snake ever. I just found it to be, I don't know, just not me. Yeah, it's just not me. I could never be a breeder. I wouldn't want to let them go. I've thought about it, but I wouldn't want to let them go. And I don't know, just not my thing. Although I do find genetics fascinating, and the whole thing with the genes, the dominant, co-dominant, recessive genes. I like all that. I've read books on that, but it's a very different thing when it's in real life and you have 20 new beautiful babies that come into your life. To me, it's hard to just let them go. You've only sold two. You're probably like me. It's hard to sell a snake, and like I don't trust even the shipping. Like Tim Gould, he's a friend of mine, and he's very good at it, and I do trust him. I just feel like I'm just scared to let them go away. I mean, he would be the best option, but then I'm talking about for venomous, and then the other option for venomous is Delta. So I don't really trust Delta that much, but the thing with them is they're fast. Like they'll get there like the next day or the day after. That's it. They're not going to be later than that. So I mean, I guess they both have their benefits. Tim, you can trust Tim with them. Delta, if you don't pick it up, they'll give you time and then they'll send it back. But you know, sometimes they don't know where it is, and sometimes they leave it in the wrong spot. They make mistakes also. It depends which state and which Delta people you have. Yeah, I'm just too connected with my snakes. I know, man. It's hard. It's like people don't realize how much snake people love their snakes. Yeah, I understand. I gave away some snakes, that I loved because it was the right thing to do at the time. I was moving, and I felt like the enclosure would be better with my friend. So I gave him Peaches and Larry, and then he sold Larry, my Egyptian Cobra, and that really made me sad, because I gave it to him, and he said he gave it to his brother. I was like, all right, well, I'm sure his brother's responsible, but then it turned out to not be his brother, and then they started to not talk, and so now I don't even know where Larry is, so. And then Peaches, there's a whole story to it, And now, like, legally, he can have Peaches, of course. Otherwise, he wouldn't have her in his possession. But it turns out now where he's living, he's not allowed to have her. So I didn't know that at the time, and he should be giving her back, but he won't do that. And he's done some really unethical things, like truly unethical things. I'm actually staring at a post right now that has his last name on it for some reason. It's a coincidence. But my spiders, I sold a lot. Don't take this the wrong way, but spiders aren't my thing. Spiders make me dizzy. Then spiders scare the hell out of me. Um, I'll start to pass out if the spider's near me, or if I'm at a show. I don't know why there's spiders at a reptile show, but they're there, right next to the hissing beetles, right? And then if I do stay, then I will pass out, straight up. And like so many of my friends, like, hold the tarantula, hold the tarantula. I'm like, bro, um, I'd rather stick needles into my eyeballs. Like, you don't understand how much I don't want to hold your spider. They're definitely not for me. I'll tell you that as a fact. I appreciate them as life. I wouldn't want to hurt one unless it was near me and like in my house and sort of trying to kill me or something, or in my car. I don't know. Maybe I would kill them, but I don't know. I don't know why. I can't explain it. Scorpions don't bother me. The other bugs don't really bother me. I don't want to see. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't want to have cockroaches as pets. I don't want to ever see a cockroach, but they don't scare me. There's something about a spider. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know. And when they eat, the whole thing is just the way. The whole thing. I don't get the whole spider thing. But I see they have different colors, and I know there's old world and new. I've learned a lot about them from guys in the chat group, but they all keep tagging me in these spider posts because I think it's funny to watch me get scared. You like bearded dragons? I love bearded dragons. I think they're like the puppies of the reptile world. They are adorable. I also like uromastyx though, and that to me is a hard choice. It's easier to feed uromastyx, but I don't want to really have to buy bugs and see mealworms. I honestly, I'm bad as a reptile keeper because I feel bad for the mealworms. I feel bad, even though I'm not big on bugs. I feel bad feeding them live. They're living beings, and when it comes to feeding mice and rats live, man, I can't do it. I have, but I can't do it anymore. It's too much for me. It's a long story, and since the bite, I will never, ever, ever feed a live animal to a venomous snake again. And I don't care at all what happens in nature and all those stupid arguments. They don't understand. They just don't. When you have in captivity, there's no reason it can't eat food. None whatsoever. Um, when it comes to constrictors, it's not my place to say. I don't know what that feels like, but I would imagine that's better because if you're gonna, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna use CO2. All right, well that's much like being constricted. So there's no easy way to kill an animal, and that's the dark side, or at least the downside to the reptile hobby. To me, the feeding of them has always broken my heart. Every time it's a heartbreak, man. Every time I feed them, you're feeding a raccoon grapes. It's funny. I just had a whole thing of grapes today. Swaggers is trying to get at my strawberries. Whatever you do, you know how it is with certain animals. They want to do it. So if you're eating carrots, suddenly Swagger's, the obligate carnivore, he needs to have a carrot, right? So even though they might make a great toy, I'm always afraid he's going to eat it. So he just sits there on the table and he looks at me, and then I start to feel guilty. Then he hits me. Then I feel less guilty. I'm like, all right, bro. All right. We'll just sit here until you become a good boy. But he never tries to really hurt me. When he hits me, he never takes his nails out. That's just when I tickle his belly, he scratches me. And a lot of people now leave me comments like, I think you need medical attention. Look, it doesn't look good. They're scratches. I get it. But they're just scratches. If there were one, it would be nothing. You would put on some Neosporin or alcohol or whatever. So there's a bunch of that. There's a bunch of very minor scratches. It doesn't really bother me. But I am trimming his nails, and he is getting bigger, and I get it, and I have gloves, so we'll be fine. Uh, if it were Swagger's, it'd be different. I'd be wearing gloves all the time now. But Swagger's thing isn't so much scratching, because Swagger's would never let me scratch his belly. I mean, how do I put it? When you hold Swaggers, when you want to give Swaggers love, you got to go from behind. You have to like pet his under his ears from behind. You can pet his head from behind. If you go in front, he will bite you hard, man. Like he'll really go to bite you, like really bite you, like he's completely wild. And bear in mind, I had him since he was an itty bitty tiny baby. My raccoons go, oh wow, you got a pregnant raccoon. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. How many babies do they have? They walk around with their babies on top of them, right? Like they're so cute. I think I know what they look like. I love raccoons, man. I was at a reptile show the other day. I had a called Mundi walking on my shoulder. I almost bought it. It's $1,500, and it doesn't come at a good time. But man, that was hard to resist. Such a cute thing. Can a coat mundi and a raccoon have babies? You have a coat raccoon or raccoon mundi? Actually, I'm not sure I've ever seen one of those. It would seem like they could, right? I mean, they're both raccoons, just a difference in locality. Can they have babies? What's your name, by the way? Local weirdo. I feel bad saying your profile name. No? I'm surprised. I bet they could at least fall in love. Roxanne, nice to meet you. Um, Pouncer is in love. He is suddenly in love with Goldie, the outdoor cat. But I'm telling you, his approach is all wrong. He thinks he could play with her tail and jump on her. And this is a new thing for him. Usually he's very polite and he just sits, but that didn't work for him either. I think that he should continue with that approach. But he's decided now to be more playful, and she doesn't like it. So she doesn't understand it. He just wants to play, and her life is very different than his. Goldie is our outdoor orange cat, and she is the one that was always tame. Like she was just born tame. She loves people. The other ones, I had to work with them so that they would let us pet them, and even just let me feed them. But Pouncer is obsessed with them. He finds them fascinating, and it's like a teenager. You know, he'll go outside, he'll see them, and when he's with them, not that much really happens. But the moment he's away from them, he's dying to get back. Just like a teenager. You know how teenagers are, like they need to be with each other. But then when they're there, like nothing really happens, right? Well, same thing with this guy. Man, when I see him sleeping, all it does now is makes me realize how awake he's going to be once we go to bed. You got a Maine Coon. I had one, and she was my best friend throughout my childhood. And I'm sure she wasn't a purebred or anything, but had this little baby, and she was with us for 24 years. And I loved her to death, and I miss her every day. I was in Israel, and I got a FedEx, which is like the weirdest thing. Like I was studying at the Hebrew University in Israel, and I got a FedEx. Like that just, it's just not something that was common in my life at that time. I was like, what could it be? It was from my dad, and he wrote me a letter saying that he was sorry, but he backed up the car and he killed the cat. Well, maybe he did, but on the other hand, maybe she was elderly. Maybe she passed away, and then he ran her over, which is what I would like to think. But he wrote me this letter about how sorry he was, and the whole thing sucked, man. Because I had her my whole life. At least the life that I was able to remember at the time. So it sucked. Am I a weirdo? I keep telling you about all my animals. No, I think you'd be a weirdo if you weren't. I wouldn't trust someone that didn't like animals at all. And what do you think I'm doing? I'm sitting here doing that the whole night and the whole day. I mean, I'm a Spanish teacher, but still, when I talk to my kids, most of the examples I give are about animals. And most kids love animals, so it's good. It helps helps me to know them and them to know me. It's good, because that's something like you automatically have in common. But if someone hasn't had animals, that's one thing. But if they just actively dislike animals, if they hate animals, to use their words, I would never trust that person ever, ever. Not even with the most like remote thing. What are you doing, baby? Baby swaggers, baby swagger, baby pouncer wants to drive. I always do that. Guess it's time for a car wash, huh? Look how dirty it is down there. But Pouncer likes it. Hit me up on Facebook Messenger, Jeffrey Leibowitz, Leibowitz. And on Instagram, I'm Baby Pouncer. That's one, Baby Pouncer. And we have another Instagram account that's Berimbolo Jeff. Berimbolo Jeff. Jeff. But hit me up on Baby Pouncer and then send me pictures of your raccoons and all your animals I'm talking about. I'd love to see the silver fox. Dope. What state are you in? I always forget. We have, depending on the night, on a normal night, we'll have people from all over the world. And then there are nights like this where it's nice, you get to talk to like just one or two people. But just they're both nice in just different ways. So where are you located? Because you know how it is. Every state's laws are so different. And pretty much in the north, they all suck. It's like everything is illegal. But as you get down south, it tends to be better. But there's some really weird laws when it comes to snakes. That's where they sort of get confused. Like in Tennessee, you can have serval cats, but the snake laws are all messed up. In Alabama, you could have a serval cat. It's one of the few states, but I don't feel comfortable sharing that with you. All right, don't share it. But when it comes to snakes, you could only have indigenous snakes. You could only have them. Whereas in North Carolina, the only ones you can't have are indigenous snakes. So, it's weird. Every state has its own way of seeing things, and I guess that's the way it should be. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but it makes sense to me that a state where people have more land, that they can have more animals. That does make sense. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I understand that, like, in a city, they would be less likely to say, okay, you can have servals or you can have venomous snakes. I can understand that. But what I don't understand is when you have two separate states and you have plenty of room and they're similar to each other, why one says yes and why one says no, when politically they're very similar. It just seems arbitrary at times. But I would like to think they're looking out for the welfare of the animals. But sometimes I ask myself, how many snakes do you have? I don't know. I have 147 cobras, to tell you that. There's a lot right now. It's bothering me. There's too many. And I didn't really plan for this. I didn't plan on people giving me so many snakes in such a short amount of time. We've been here for 59 minutes or more, so the idea was to stay for an hour. So we're going to be taking off in a second. And I would rather he wake up anyway so it doesn't drive me nuts. I think most of the snow has melted away, but if we were in a different state where it was all snowy, I would introduce him to the snow and I probably would let him like play in it a little bit just so he understands, it can be slippery, just so he understands. But here, there's so little snow that there's no real point in acclimating him to it, Why risk him getting a cold or getting sick in some other way, But I do worry about these outdoor cats, man. I love these guys. And I'm going to just bring them inside and just go from there. I just can't leave them out. It's too cold. It's like in the single digits, and there's snow, and there's rain, and there's slush, and they have nowhere to go. These cats were outdoors when I came here, and there were so many of them. And there still are other ones I haven't even won over, in the sense that they won't even let me feed them. But it's the most heartbreaking thing to see these cats outdoors, and like now there's this mentality that they're invasive, which I'll never understand. Vacation soon. Oh, you can't take your foxes. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I know. It's like that's part of the thing with having exotic pets. It's like, who's gonna take care of them? Anyway, look, we're gonna go. So thank you for popping in. Appreciate it. It was nice talking with you. Have a very good night. If you want, pop in the chat group or say hello online. I'd like to see pictures of your animals. All right. Have a good night. Pouncer